Good morning, students. Today we shall discuss our next chapter, that is The Snake and the Mirror. So before doing a chapter, we shall discuss the introduction of our writer. Weka Muhammad Bashir was an Indian independence activist and the writer of Malayalam literature. So next we shall start our chapter. So first of all, we shall discuss the introduction of this chapter. The writer tells us about the story which was told to him by a doctor who encountered a snake which fell on him and how his life was saved. We will read in this chapter. Has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? A full blooded cobra? All of us fell silent, and the question came from Homeopath. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. We listened attentively as doctor continued with his tale. It was a summer night, about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at restaurant and returned to my home. I heard a noise from above, and as I opened the door, the sound was familiar one. One could say that the rats and I shared the room. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. So the homeopathic doctor is narrating the story. He asked the writer and group if anyone had ever been wrapped up by a cobra. The audience became silent. Then doctor narrated his story. It was a hot summer, 10 o'clock. He was returning home after having his dinner at restaurant. As the doctor was opening the door of his room, he heard a noise from above. But he didn't react because he was used to such noises, and there were many rats in his room. He was used to the noise. He lighted the lamp. So in this पैराग्राफ क्या है, हेमोपैथिक डॉक्टर अपनी स्टोरी बता रहा है कि कैसे उसको एक बार स्नेक के साथ उसका इंसिडेंट हुआ. वो क्या है, अपने घर पे लौटा रेस्टोरेंट से डिनर करके और रात का 10 बजे का टाइम था और उसको एक अजीब सी आवाज़ें सुनाई देती है अपने कमरे में. और वो क्या सोचता है, शायद ये रैट्स की आवाज़ें हैं जो उसके कमरे से हमेशा ही आती रहती हैं. वो इन आवाज़ों का आदी हो गया था. Next is, the house was electrified. It was a small rented home. I had just set up medical practice and my earnings were meager, so I had about 60 rupee in my suitcase along with some shirts and dhotis. I also possessed one solitary black coat which I was then wearing. So he had small room on rent. His earning was very less because he had just started his medical practice. He was living in dirty condition. He told the writer that he had just 60 rupees in his bag. Further, he added that he had some shirts and dhotis to wear, and he also had one black coat which he was wearing at the time of the incident. So I took off my black coat, white shirt and not so white vest and hung them up. I opened the two windows in the room. It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. It had tiled roof with long supported gables that rested on the beam over the wall. There was no ceiling. There was regular traffic of rats to and from the beam. I made my bed and pulled it close to the wall. I lay down, but I couldn't sleep. I got up and went out to veranda for little air. But the wind god seemed to have taken off. So he removed his clothes, coat, shirt, and his vest. Then he opened the windows. He described his room as one wall of the room faced garden. The roof had tiles, and the beam on which gable was spotted was full of rat, which went in and out of the room. He set his bed near the wall, and he lay down to sleep, but couldn't sleep. Why? Because it seemed that wind was not blowing. So he had gone out of the room to get some fresh air because he had no fan or cooler in his room. So next is, I went back into the room and sat on the chair. I opened the box beneath the table and took out a book, Materia Medica. I opened it as at the table on which I stood the lamp and a large mirror. A small comb lay beside the mirror. One feels tempted to look into mirror when it is near one. I took a look. In those days I was a great admirer of beauty, and I believed in making myself look handsome. I was unmarried and I was a doctor. I felt I had to make my presence felt. I picked up the comb and ran it through my hair and adjusted the parting so that it looked straight and neat. Again I heard that sound from above. So he come back to his room and took out a book named Materia Medica. He opened it as he was sitting in front of the mirror. He asked. He he looked at his image in the mirror. He says that he was a great admirer of beauty. As he was young, he wanted to improve his looks. He combed his hair, then trying to set them properly. As he was sitting in front of the mirror, so he combed his hair and trying to set them properly. When he was combing, he again heard the same sound from above, but again ignored it. Next is, I took a close look at my face in the mirror. I made an important decision. I would shave daily and grow a thin mustache to look more handsome. I was, after all, a bachelor and a doctor. I looked into the mirror and smiled. It was an attractive smile. I made another earth-shaking decision. I would always keep that attractive smile on my face and to look more handsome. I was, after all, a bachelor and a doctor, two on top of it. Again came that noise from above. He looked carefully in the mirror and decided that he would shave daily and grow a thin mustache to look more handsome. He appreciated himself. Another thing he decided was that he would always smile, keep smiling. He thought that he had lot of value, that is why he wanted to look more handsome. I got up, lit a beedi, and paced up and down the room. That another lovely thought struck me. I would marry. I would get married to a woman doctor who had plenty of money and good medical practice. She had to be fat for valid reason. If I made some silly mistake and needed to run away, she should not be able to run after me and catch me. With such thoughts in my mind, I resumed my seat in the chair in front of table. There were no more sounds from above. Suddenly there came a ground. Surely nothing to worry about. Even so, I thought I would turn around and took a look. No sooner had I turned than a fat snake wriggled over the back of the chair and landed on my shoulder. The snake's landing on me and my turning were simultaneous. So, as he decided to marry a woman doctor, one who had lots of money and a good medical practice, then he thought that he would marry a fat girl so that when he makes some mistakes, his wife will not be able to catch him if she would be fat. All of a sudden, something fell down, making the sounds of thud. It felt like some rubber tube had fallen, and the doctor didn't bother about it. As soon the doctor turned, he saw a big fat snake, had crawled over the chair and sat on his shoulders. जैसे कि वो मिरर के आगे बैठ के बुक खोल के पढ़ रहा था और साथ में बहुत चीज़ें सोच रहा था अपनी वाइफ के बारे में और कैसे वो हैंडसम बनना चाहता है। और इस चीज़ों के बारे में जब वो सोच रहा है, अचानक उसके ऊपर एक चीज़ गिरती है और वो अपना पीछे मुड़ के देखता है तो देखता है क्या एक स्नेक है। नेक्स्ट इज, I didn't jump, I didn't tremble, I didn't cry out. There was no time to do such thing. The snake slithered along my shoulder and coiled around my left arm above the elbow. The hood was spread out and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. It would not be correct to say merely that I sat there holding my breath. I was turned to stone, but my mind was very active. The door opened into darkness. The room was surrounded by darkness. In the light of the lamp, I sat there like a stone image in the flesh. So, he didn't jump or scream. He didn't have any time to react. The snake wrapped itself on doctor's left arm like a coil. So, the doctor said he had turned into stone. As he was thinking what he should do, it was darkness all around. Only lamp's light was there.